Does this sound familiar to you?
Why is it freezing cold out and we're getting really heavy winter storms? Isn't the climate supposed to be getting warmer or something?
I knew climate change was just like a hoax, like global warming, yeah, right.
Perhaps your intuition is telling you this is wrong, but you're not sure exactly why. Maybe you want to debate these people, but you don't have a firm enough grasp on the situation yourself to be able to do so. Or maybe you have some of these questions yourself. It is my hope that today we can answer these questions and help shed a bit of light on what's happening here. And I say we because I'm once again joined by my good friend, the water doctor herself, Tessa. This is so cold.
Hi everyone, excited to be back, and yeah, let's science the crap out of this.
Heck yeah. To begin, let's clear something up. This person
Isn't the climate supposed to be getting warmer or something?
was correct. But climate change is not just causing warming, it's causing more weather extremes. Hotter hots, colder colds, drier droughts, and wetter storms. This played out a couple of different ways in this most recent storm. To help us out, I'm going to pass things back over to the Wizard of Water Tessa to help explain this first point.
So you can think about the air in the atmosphere like a pot or a bowl. It can hold a certain amount of moisture. And when it fills to the brim, that moisture spills over and we get precipitation like rain or snow. The thing is, warm air can actually hold more moisture. This is something you might intuitively know if you've spent summers in humid places like the South or the East Coast. So as climate change makes our atmosphere warmer, we're effectively making that bowl bigger and bigger. So more and more moisture can accumulate in the atmosphere before it actually starts raining or snowing. But when it does spill over, that's right, there's way more precipitation from all that moisture that was hanging out in the atmosphere. That's why we get these winters where there's not much snow. Until there's a lot of frickin' snow. Make sense? Back to you, Jim.
Thanks, Doc. I knew I can count on you for the water business. Now, let's take things to the second part, the polar vortex and the polar jet stream.
High in the stratosphere above the Arctic, 10 to 30 miles above the surface of the Earth, there is a ring of strong winds, a massive vortex, which keeps the coldest Arctic air locked near the North Pole. The polar vortex. Logical name. Below this in the troposphere, 5 to 9 miles above the Earth's surface, is a lower flow of winds, the polar jet stream. These two are separate but related. When the polar vortex is especially strong and stable, the polar jet stream stays farther north and has a stable, strong circular shape, effectively encircling the vortex. However, the vortex is not always strong like this. Sometimes, it can be pushed off the pole or even split in two. The polar jet stream can mirror this upheaval, tracing this irregular, wavy pattern, allowing the cold air to be pushed southward to lower latitudes. This happened this winter in late January, coinciding with the first big storm on the East Coast this winter.
So that explains the cold snaps and winter storms. But why is it still happening in a warming world? And how does the warming actually relate to this?
Well, the Arctic is warming more rapidly than the rest of the planet, a phenomenon known as Arctic amplification. As warming temperatures cause more and more ice to melt, more and more land and sea is exposed. These have a much lower albedo than ice and snow, meaning how much radiation they reflect versus absorb. The low albedo land and sea absorb more heat, resulting in warmer temperatures, more melting, more warming, and so on and so forth. This is known as a positive feedback loop. The inputs generate outputs that increase the inputs, which in turn increase the outputs, and so on. You can see why this would be a problem.
Why am I telling you this? Well, all this heat can affect the atmospheric circulation patterns over the polar regions. It is currently being studied, but it is highly likely that climate change warming the Arctic can disrupt the polar vortex and the polar jet stream, thus causing the bitterly cold Arctic air to move farther south. In turn, us humans who respond to our external stimuli think, oh my God, what's going on? It's freezing cold out, my hands are literally numb, and there's snow everywhere, so climate change must not be real. This, of course, is false. as I'm telling you.
Hopefully, now you know that to be false, and you could better understand a bit about how climate change results in a myriad of effects which interplay with one another to cause even more complex and often compounding effects.
So, now you know. This blizzard does not contradict climate change, and it may actually prove it. Anything to add, Tessa?
Great point about the compounding effects, Jim. This stuff is complicated, and it goes to show how dangerous it is to be messing around with our atmosphere the way we are. But there's still a lot we can do to stop it. So vote, campaign, and we'll be here to keep explaining it.
Thank you very much. Big round of applause for Tessa for coming out here again. Really appreciate the help. I sincerely hope you learned something. There was a lot here, so as always, please feel free to peruse the description and use the links to read up on all of this some more yourself. Or don't, and just doom scroll my videos. Just kidding, but please do subscribe. If you liked what you saw and learned something, show your support and let me know what you thought down in the comments. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next time. Ciao.
Not even close to